Right.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hope you're all doing well. If you can like the video, please. We're at 42 likes. I know it's a little bit later of a start, but we're here. If we can get it to 100 likes, I will start the video here. Morning, Harris. Good morning, SMT, Trading Fan, Sage, JBX, or JBFX, JJ, Sage, Anthony, Noon, Tom. Good morning, Oki, JJ, Julian, Vigo, Businessman, Wolf, Will, Dark Ghost, Digital Nomad, Justin, what's up? Good morning, everybody. Crazy Eddie, good morning. Please like the video. 200 viewing here. Austin, what's up? Good morning. Sabius, Biggie, Fly Official, good morning. Oh, really? Did that happen? Let me take a look. Did he post that on YouTube or what? Rest in peace, so that did happen. South Mountain, good morning. Grant, Shibley, good morning. Igor, good morning, Alright, we're at 100 likes. Yeah, I know she's in the hospital. I didn't know if she passed or not. If I had to be 100% honest with y'all, these conditions are trash right now. I know the charts aren't up, but I mean, I'm probably not going to be trading again today. And I know some of you are like, come on, dude, do something. I'm just, I'll explain it, but it's something like today, is terms of like the private group. I would just tell you, I'm not live streaming today. If there's something that happens, I'd report it, obviously in real time. But like something like today, I just wouldn't be sitting down and doing much. And again, I don't make the conditions. You can't force your way into the market. I mean, again, people believe there's always 3 options, and to me, it's always either A, sit on the sidelines, do nothing, or B, lose. I don't have a third option of I might win today, I might get lucky. That doesn't exist in my head. So, your name is Brian. Okay, I'll try to remember that. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you have a difficult name, I probably won't say it just because it's difficult to say. Joseph, I don't know. I'm aware that anytime, I'm just going to put the charts on the screen. I'm aware that anytime you have a large news event driver ahead of price, such as tomorrow, you have core PPI, or core PPI, whatever, same tomato. There's 5 red news event drivers. So what is happening is typically when you have that, especially in the later portions of the week. So let's place CPI at Thursday, because sometimes that happens. Even FOMC, even NFP sometimes. If there's a large pool of liquidity, it's not going to tag that before the large news event driver comes out. So TOK, toke. Yeah, I mean, if it's difficult to say, I won't say it. But what I'm saying is, if there's a large news event driver, it's typically going to engineer liquidity ahead of that, and it won't be tagged until that news event driver releases. So in my head, when I'm looking at NQ and I'm looking at the conditions, that's basically what I'm looking at going into tomorrow. So do I want to push in an environment like today? And I know some people are sick and tired of it, like, you know, waiting and being patient. I mean, again, if you have a problem with it, it's personally on you. But if you look at these conditions, you look at where we're at in the daily range, we're moving sideways, right? It's typically, this is not something you want to be inside of. You want to be in a large expanding range. Even our own mentor today, I'm not going to quote his exact words, but he said, "I'm sitting out today, I'm not doing anything. This is not an ideal price action situation to be inside of." So again, when I lean, sometimes if I doubt myself, and then my own mentor who created these concepts is saying the same thing, it gives me a bit of confidence to be like, all right, well, at least I'm doing the right thing. And I know I'm doing the right thing, but at times you're going to doubt yourself. We talked about this last night, where sometimes you do doubt yourself, and you do doubt being patient. And this is where, especially going 3 days, if I don't do anything today, I'm not saying that's 100%, but if I don't do anything today, it's 3 days out of the week where I'm not doing anything. And that will wear on some people mentally. It'll be like, am I doing the right thing? You'll start questioning yourself. Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Because it feels like I'm not doing the right thing. It feels like I should be participating. And at least in my eyes, that's just what I haven't been able to find what I really want. And I believe obviously that's due to tomorrow and Friday. And if those are the only days I'm able to trade, then so be it. I mean, that's fine. Some days I have to wait 3 days to find a trade setup. And if that's your particular style as well, there's nothing wrong with it. So this is where I hesitate to call moves inside of consolidations, because when you're inside of a consolidation, price can move. Do you guys remember, were you here with me last week? And if you remember this very distinctly, I'm not even going to be looking right now. I know the market's moving, it just opened, people freaking out. But do you remember last week? Oh, geez almighty. Do you remember last week, this area here on the 1 hour, when price was in this consolidation? Do you remember this? Whoever was here sitting with me live, how there was liquidity on both sides, right? And I talked about anytime you're inside of consolidation and you near a sell side liquidity pool or buy side liquidity pool, price will sometimes not even take that side. It will immediately revert, and it'll act as classic support and resistance, and it can fake you out. Your analysis is not going to be as really solid. So when you're in a bigger macro view of it, right, how we are in now, that's a little tight range on a 1 hour. Now we're in a large range. There's going to be some decent swings inside of that consolidation, but it's a little bit harder to predict really where it really wants to gravitate towards. And if I have no economic news driver events, which we have one today, which is later in the portion of the day, it doesn't give me enough confidence to really want to do anything, right? Like, I don't really know. This thing could just bounce around. We could drop lower into this fair value gap. We could move higher. We could move lower. I don't really know. And I'm leaning on the idea that we're going to run for the sell side. This is probably not going to be today. And I know that because we have a news event driver tomorrow. If that wasn't ahead of us and we had a news event driver today, then I'd be electing to believe we'd run for this. We don't have volume, we don't have volatility coming into the market, so I can't anticipate a large range expansion into the sell side. So what I'm predicting is a consolidated market, or just back and forth, and I'm not going to be able to predict it that well, because in a macro view, we're consolidating. So on lower time frames, things can be very, very difficult. But if you're just looking at a 1 minute time frame, then of course your view is very skewed. You can't see the whole picture. So these markets and this type of condition and this profile is something that you have to work with. It's going to happen to you over and over again. And it's up to you whether you want to be patient and do nothing, or you want to press inside of this. My earlier years, I would lose a lot of money in these conditions. It would be difficult for me. I would lose all my money. And then would come the day where Thursday and Friday, I'm like, man, if I just waited 3 days and waited for Thursday and Friday, I could have found a nice setup. Everything would have been easy. My equity curve would have been nice. I wouldn't have taken any losses. But if you're trying to dance around in these conditions and you take a bunch of losses and then you come into Thursday and Friday where the setup was clean, I mean, you're just trying to make back all the money that you unnecessarily lost. And of course, people have their opinions and their view sets on, well, yeah, I can trade in this condition. Sure. I'm sure if I sat here with a gun in my head and I really had to trade, like somebody was like, your life's on the line, you have to trade in this. I'm sure I could do it. Do I want to do it? That's the distinguish. Do I need to do it? Right? There's a distinguish between wanting and needing. I don't need to be inside of this. I don't need to press in something that I already am deeming low probability. This has to translate back to the last 2 days, even last week as well. It's the difference between wanting and needing. I don't need to be in this. I already know going into tomorrow and Friday, there's probably going to be a nice clean setup because I know the news event drivers that are ahead of us. I know what price action looks like. I know what we typically do in consolidated states following the day after. So I just trust that. I lean on my own experience. I lean on that. And if you start doubting yourself and you start doubting the concepts and your patience, which will happen, especially if you're as patient as I am, you start to doubt yourself over a course of time. Just fear and doubt will start to come into your mind. And that's really where you have to go back to your journal, go back to whether it's a mentor or somebody, and be able to lean on that. Does it make sense, everybody? Hopefully that is a clear explanation as to what I'm doing today. How much do you need to pay monthly for targeting E-mini? I mean, trading E-mini. I mean, it's $4 for the CME data on TradingView. $4 a month. I mean, you can do it through TradingView. You can do it through your broker, whoever it is. Okay, cool. Yeah, as far as 90-minute cycles, that's not a thing. That doesn't exist. There's people that create stuff all the time on Twitter. If it doesn't come directly from the source's mouth, do not believe it. There's a lot of deception. There's a lot of lies. There's a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing that will steer your direction and your focus away from the actual truth. Believing or creating, boasting about how they created it and how they found their own whatever inception. But I don't see the point in trying to believe somebody else that didn't create these concepts, didn't talk about this before. I mean, again, I'm not going to get into the entire social media thing, but your head has to be on a swivel. You have to be very, very cautious. You have to understand, again, this is to be able to decipher on social media whether something's true or not. Go back to the source and look at it. Is this what ICT is saying? Yes or no? Has he talked about this? Yes or no? If he isn't, don't use it. It's not something that I would utilize. I've seen so many people come and go, counting candlesticks. This was a huge thing last year. People were counting candlesticks. It's hilarious. And people get psyoped into these things, just like the media, just like everything else in life. It's the same thing. No, ICT has clearly denied them. And there's always, as far as 90-minute cycles, I mean, yeah, it's the same thing as kill zones. I don't know why people are so obsessed with it. It's so weird. They don't even know how to trade profitably, and they're just trying to dive deep into some weird concepts. But whatever. How about you just focus on the things that were given to you and try to become profitable with that first instead of incorporating a zebra into your trading. Let me look at a magical alien trade setup in here that, like, so weird. Promise you, no magical concept that somebody comes up with is going to make you profitable. It's always yourself. It's always yourself. If we actually do want to expand lower today, I mean, I would be surprised if we run to the sell side today. I'm weary of the idea that they're going to leave this for tomorrow. That's my idea for today. If I'm proven wrong, or if the price proves me wrong, where I can go short into the sell side, then so be it. I mean, that'd be cool. Exactly, Tom. I mean, I just want all of you to be critical thinkers. I want all of you to actually think with your head. And stop falling into the traps of social media. It's very, very harmful to a lot of your development. It's harmful to mine as well. It's actually got. I mean, it's because it seems so simple that it's too good to be true. It's like, oh, the fair value gap. That's like, that thing is the fair value gap is the most beautiful concept ever created in life, or at least in trading my eyes. It is the portal, the window to the algorithm, to my opinion. Just looking at the open, I'm going to dive into a few things here. Put this on. Bishop, thank you. Yeah, there's always something new on social media. Again, if you see it, if I've been around for 6 years, I've seen things come and go. I've seen influencers come and go, new concepts come and go. But what's always stayed true is ICT's concepts. I mean, the things that he's taught is never broken. It's never changed. It's always been the same. Thank you, Akbar. Yeah, I mean, we have RT gap above us, so I mean, I'll mark that out. And this is where, especially in consolidated states, where we talked about what I just talked about last week, is when you are in a consolidated state, price will start to move in one way or the other, and you think it's going to draw towards the draw on liquidity, and it immediately reverses on you, because it's probably just taking internal sell side or buy side, whatever it is, and that's going to reverse on you. So you're kind of stuck trying to force something that's not going to unfold that day. So I'm weary of what's going to happen today. I'm weary of moves. I mean, again, if you're here for signals, I'm probably not going to be taking a trade today. So, I mean, it is what it is. You can have your opinion on it. It's whatever. Yeah, I mean, again, I would like this to be targeted, but I just don't think that's a feasible option today because price may be held for tomorrow. I guess I could put this on. Zebra, yeah. I mean, if I wanted to, I could come up with a bunch of different random words and make it seem like I'm smart. Do the gaps from contract rollover have any confluence on anything? And Q rolled over and has a huge gap. I gotta take a look. MNQ, I wouldn't put a lot of emphasis on this chart. I would put a lot of emphasis on what NQ is doing over the micro. Sometimes the micro has a different feed. I'm not sure what gap you're talking about. Oh, that's the March. I don't see anything in here. You have an obvious gap. I don't see it. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're using the continuous contract, I wouldn't be using the continuous contract on micro and Q. Even then, so I'm on the continuous contract and it's still not there. So you may have something different. If you're just tuning in, I appreciate it if you'd like the video. Yeah, I mean, I'm using the continuous contract for NASDAQ, so that's the feed that I'm using. So said, yeah, I know, you're good. I don't unlock B adjust. B adjust is always on for me. That's probably why. The discount efficiency there and this reclaim there as well. Guys, I'm not going to go over that. I got, yep, RTH gaps right there. It's above price. Thank you, Tom. Overnight, took some buy side, dropped lower. Inefficiency there, sold off. Right off the open, used that 15-minute there and sell off. Alex, trade CFDs, US 100, US 500, US 30. Those are CFDs are indices feeds that you can use. Well, if we really start to expand today, and it's something where I like, all right, well, we can actually target the sell side today. Like I see that as a feasible option, then yeah. Indeed, thank you. I appreciate it. If you just look at the correlation between, I mean, this is another ES is not selling off as hard as YM. It's a bit decoupled. Or I'm sorry, ES is not selling off as much as NQ, and YM's kind of stagnant. What did we talk about at the beginning of the stream, especially when price isn't consolidating on a macro level? Any moves in here, I'm weary of. I know that sell side is really clean and people want to look for that, but if you're inside of a consolidated state, price will have these intraday like short runs internally, and you'll think it wants to run for the sell side, and then it'll reverse on you. So if you're sitting with me last week during that 1 hour consolidated state, you can see what I mean. Yeah, dollar hasn't been much help either, so just kind of have to sit still. I mean, we're just moving into the macro of the silver bullet, the beginning of it. NQ, oh wait, forex versus indices, which one's better? I mean, I trade indices, I've traded forex. I mean, my focus is on indices currently. Powder dry, yep. Current new week opening gap is resting down there, and then an old new week opening gap. Can you please tell us about your PDA matrix priority list? Some things you miss, obviously, to have less distractions on the graph. Exactly what I can't do. I mean, all of them have importance. They're all, to me, they're all equal. It just depends how you utilize them. I mean, as far as entries in your multiplier, meaning your entry pattern, you want to focus on one. You don't want to be entering off of like a breaker the next day, for value gap the next day, an order block. Focus on one entry pattern. If that doesn't form, you don't enter. I know how to utilize all of them. I know exactly what all of them are. I know the definitions, but I don't utilize them, right? I utilize them, well, let me put it this way. I utilize them for bias direction wherever price is going, but I don't enter off of them. The only thing I enter off of is a fair value gap. If I have an inversion plus a fair value gap, then I'll enter off of it. If it's just an inversion to low, I don't enter off of it. So you have to make that clear, distinguish, in your trading is I'm going to enter off of one thing and that's it. Would you ever take a trade at the 950 macro if the setup was there? Yeah, I mean I have before, but I mean right now there's nothing that I would participate in. Alex, thank you very much for the live streams, the clips you post. I've been studying ICT for a year, but now thanks to you, I understand more easily how to use concepts. Thank you. Well, thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. Good afternoon. Greetings from Germany. Greetings from the United States. Yeah, I mean, I think we've all heard that quote from Bruce Lee, is the person who practiced one kick 10,000 times is better than the person that practices 10,000 kicks one time. So don't be a master of all, because you'll be a master of none. Morning, Lord. Morning, Liverpool. Awesome. I'm not going to go to the 1 minute. If I don't see price clearly, I'm not going to jump to a 1 minute. My focus stays outside of it. If you've sat with me long enough, you obviously know I look at a 1 minute. But if you don't even see me going to a 1 minute, then obviously I'm not seeing something. Jack of all trades, master of none. Exactly. And I used to be that. I was trying to do everything at once, and it didn't work. I was trying to utilize breakers, order blocks, mitigation blocks, fair value. Everything is my entry pattern. And guess what? All my results were messed up. Everything was skewed. Yeah. If I just know, like, I have a 1 minute chart up on a different screen. I mean, I'm looking at it. But in general, there's nothing that I'm like, wow, I'm going to go to 1 minute right now for the audience. What's your main model now? I mean, I have multiple models. I have a video over it on my YouTube, but again, it's to describe a model in a few words or with one video. It's impossible for me to do so. I mean, even ICT says this. It's why you have to sit down with somebody for multiple weeks and months and to see how they operate. Every model is going to look uniquely to that day. It's going to have certain characteristics around it, but it's never just this is exactly what it looks like every day, and this is what you need to look for. That's not true. Like even the 2022 model looks different at times. It has unique characteristics and things that are surrounding it. There's so many things that go into a model. I can't possibly put it into a sentence. I know ICT says to put it on the back of a business card, but I can even then. So you can't do that. Do you know model number 8 is quite useful? Yeah, I mean, I've watched every single charter member model, but even then, so all those models, you do not need all those models. You literally need one model. Let's say this is a good condition going to unfold lower. If it offers a retracement to a premium, FEG inside of this run lower, would you put your stop loss? I mean, I would put it above. Anytime I'm entering off of a fair value gap, there's 3 candles that create a fair value gap, right? You have 1, 2, and let's say this one closes. There's 3 candlesticks that create a fair value gap. My stop loss goes above the second one that creates the fair value gap. Sometimes it can go above the third, because sometimes it can wick above that candlestick, and I've had that happen to me where I get stopped out. It depends on the risk. I have to gauge the risk. If that's another 10, 15, 20 handles to get it above that high, I'm not going to do that. It's too much risk. Will you stop your daily logs when you go private? Yes. Yeah, okay. I think that, I mean, he didn't do that. He did that to stop, resellers and scammers and things like that of his own content. There's people making millions of dollars off of doing that. I mean, I don't blame them. I paid for the information. I mean, a lot of people were pissed off, but I mean, I understand it. I got what I needed out of that dude. There's nothing, I don't care. He can sell his own content, repackage it and sell it if he wanted to. When am I going private? Friday. I have 2 more days of doing this, and then I'm out publicly. Everything will be released Friday, so please be patient. When we expect speed and distance at 75%, sometimes big tracement can happen instead of a quick run, but ultimately reach the draw liquidity when experience. I know it's not the answer you want, but experience. A lot of the questions, 90% of the questions all of you have, and the same questions I had, experience is going to teach you. That's it. Like there's nothing I'm going to tell you. There's nothing ICT is going to put in a video that's going to tell you. It's just time and experience. That's all it is. You have to spend time with this. You have to spend time and be intimate with it and understand it and take a lot of losses and go through a lot of trials and errors and see how price works. I mean, think about if you were trying to teach somebody who's brand new to this, you'd say the same thing. Be like, well, I can't really see the fair value gap just yet. It's like, well, yeah, you have to spend time with this. Start to see it. Start to recognize the patterns. Sure, but no. I mean, I'll post like what's going on inside the private group, the executions, and just things that are going on. And if I feel like posting something on Twitter in terms of like advice, something like that, then yeah. But as far as that, no. I mean, I'm not gonna keep posting on here. That would be disingenuous to the people that are inside of that group. Kish, haven't asked a ton of questions, but it feels like I've started to see the same things as you over the past months. Awesome. CE is the consequent encroachment, so the 50% of equilibrium. And that is for gaps, that's for liquidity voids, wicks. I'm not going to answer any more questions on this whole private group thing. Just everything will be released Friday. Just be patient, please. Curious people, yeah. Yes, everything that I've done will stay on YouTube, but as far as newer content, no. Sloth, I appreciate it. Yeah, I will. I gotta update that actually today. For the most part, I mean, there's like multiple different payment options. What am I trying to do in here? I'm trying to determine what if price really wants to sell off into the sell side today. This is what I mean in consolidated states. It's hard for me to trust a clean run. If there's volatility today, if we just came off of a news event driver, we didn't have something ahead of us tomorrow, it would be easy for me to want to short in here, and easy for me to want to trust the bias going into the sell side. But when you're in a consolidated state and you have a news event driver ahead of you, like tomorrow, things may drop lower, like we're seeing here, and then you're going to see some type of reversal. You get caught trying to do that, and you're stopped out. So. Why you go private? Is that 15-minute FEG not important? I mean, it is, but I wouldn't be looking to go long off of it. You can turn it into an inversion, but like I said, everything in here, when you're in a consolidated state, the significance behind a lot of things is not as significant. I know it's hard for a lot of newer students to understand because they see price run, they see things happening, but we talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago when price was consolidating. When it's doing that, the runs inside of the consolidation is not as significant. When you're outside of the consolidation, you're seeking a drawn liquidity that's clearly one-sided. It's more significant. The models and things will work. Yeah, there's a red folder later today, but I don't find that really that significant. Elvero, good morning from Spain. Good morning from the U.S. YM, for the most part, is always decoupled. Put your emphasis on ES and NQ mainly. Which, I mean, even ES is not, it's definitely not as weak as NQ. Accidental, what's up, brother? Buenos dias. Is Diaz morning? I don't know. My Spanish, I failed every single Spanish class. My goodness. How often do you trade the PM session? Not very often. I said I try to keep my engagement, my frequency very low. Do I see ES being the sixth sister? Not really. This is what I mean, is people see this opening and they want to chase this. I can't explain it any other way unless we just sit in real time and I show you that things are probably not that favorable. I mean, it could, but again, my bias is not necessarily long. I mean, we may stay consolidated today. I mean, look at the daily time frame. This is going to be your biggest guide. If you're looking for clarification on where price is going that day, you're not looking at the daily time frame. You're not looking at the weekly time frame. You're not looking at the time of day, time of week. You're not looking at economic news driver events. You're not looking at intermarket relationships. All of these things are telling you whether something is high probability or not. How is a fair value gap? How do I know when it's going to work? Well, all the things I just listed are going to guide you. Daily time frame, I don't know, and I predict that we're not going to run for the sell side today. Why? Because we have a news event driver tomorrow. So it's probably going to hold the market until tomorrow and leave the sell side here. So my overall bias is short. I want to see that ran into tomorrow. Anything happening today, I don't really trust. If we're inside of a consolidation, my analysis, my overall precision is probably not going to be as high. So you have to understand that when something is not going to be as favorable and you're not going to be as precise, even though price, when you jump to a 1 minute, price is selling off or it's getting above one fair value gap, it means really not that much. It's not as significant. Exactly, Tom. Excuse me, I gotta turn up my space heater, so if you hear a noise, sorry. It's just too cold. CJ, we've just had liquidity grab, but there's a plus side. No, I wouldn't really go long. So again, I'm gonna state this again, that any model, anything that's happening, yes, we ran sell side. I'm looking for lower prices overall, and they may not happen today. I understand that. B, when you're in consolidated state, everything that happens is not as significant. I don't trust things. My trust level for them is not as high. Yeah, it's 50 in Chicago. It's actually been really warm here, to be honest with you, but I'm just getting cold. I'm also sitting in shorts and a white beater. Exactly, Tom. I mean, that's maturity, and you've studied me and what I've been doing for a while now, and I can see it in the words that you send, the messages. I mean, you're developing. It's good to see. That's what I want to see out of everybody who comes here and learns from me, is exactly what you're doing. Good morning from Russia. And Nabia? I don't know how to pronounce that, but good morning. Didn't I just say that? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. live streaming, especially like live streaming, I'm on autopilot. I say probably the same things over and over again without realizing it. I answer questions without really even looking at it. Of course, so. Dorba Ultra. God, jeez, almighty. So you're killing me. I speak English. I think there's a particular reason these runs have been happening for Silver Bullet. I mean, not really. You are likely to lose today and lose your targets for private, is it? Sure. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it. Apologize. That's Russian. Jeez. Russian sounds so, I sound angry. So I know Arabic words and all. See, Copex, I see that. And that's a lot of people that come into my chat that are, and even in general, I get this. I resonate with it because I've done it. The reason that you feel like you need to trade every day is because you're trying to pass these challenges that either have a time limit on you, or you don't want to pay another monthly fee because it's coming up. Your monthly fee's coming up. You got to pass the challenge, so you don't want to spend another money. Like this is the issue, because all of you are being programmed by these challenges, by these prop firms. Even myself, I was, and I have to trade every day. I have to force every day. Guess what? When you go into a live environment, a live account, you're going to still carry over those exact same trades. It's not like, oh, I go into a funded account and boom, all those trades are gone. No, now all those bad habits, all those stupid trades that you took and they got lucky, now you're going to believe that that's actually feasible and it's possible. And now you're just screwing up your funded account. So if you want to reach consistent profitability, don't do a challenge with a time limit and have enough money to keep paying for multiple months on a recurring monthly fee for a challenge account. It's the only way you're going to figure out how this stuff actually works. I mean, if you're forced to trade every day, if you don't have enough money, you're relying on trading for a source of income, you feel the need to trade every day, you're never going to be successful. I'll tell you that right here. I've tried to do it. It does not work. When you're forced into a corner in trading, it doesn't work. You can't do that. You have to be allowed to be patient. If you have to sit out an entire week, you should be okay with that. If you had to sit out an entire month, you should be okay with that. I'm not saying that's what you should be doing, but you should have the mentality that if I have to wait several weeks for a setup, then you should be okay with it. You shouldn't be forced into a corner every day and just hyperventilating over a 1 minute time frame. I mean, it's commonly what I see throughout newer traders, amateur traders, and they come into this space is they're just so eager to do anything every single second of the day. That's not the reality of it. Yeah, when I first got into trading, I was using FTMO, I was using my forex funds. I mean, both of those had a 30 calendar day challenge for 10%, And I was so new to it, I thought that was normal. I thought I would beat myself up so much I'd get to 7, 8% and I wouldn't complete it, and I'd be like, man, I suck. That's like, dude, you're crazy. Like, do even 5% in a month is phenomenal. 2 to 3% a month is phenomenal. Like, these prop firms have psyoped most of the community. I'm glad that a lot of them have moved out of time limits, but even then, there's unlimited time, but people still blow it within the first week. So like, it's not really even the prop firm's issue; it's the person. Hypothetical. I don't really know hypothetically what it's going to do. I don't want to do anything particularly. I've already set that out for the day. Even our own mentor's not doing anything today. And guess what? He's in the World Futures Trading Cup Challenge. And what is our own mentor doing? Everybody's looking at him, asking him, how is he doing on his Robbins Cup? What is he doing today? He's chilling out. He's not even trading. So think about that. The person who created these concepts, who's teaching you these concepts, is telling us he told us privately, he's not going to be trading. So when people look at me and they say, oh, he's not trading today, that must mean he sucks. or even you yourself, you start doubting it. It's like, bro, our own mentor's not even doing anything. That's got to tell you something. Like, wake up, man. Mark, yes, thank you. Psyopt, yes. Exactly, Tom. And a real investor's, like, when you look at somebody who's just, stocks, 401k, whatever it is, if you're making 10 to 15 to even 20% in a year, it is a phenomenal, phenomenal return on your investment. But then people go into trading and they think, like, oh, I got to make 10% a month. Like, dude, that's such an insane rate to like overturn. Evelyn, I mean, he also posted in the morning. I don't know what time he posted. He posted, these conditions are not right. Don't do anything. So technically, that's what he was saying, regardless of what's happening outside of his personal life. Hey, CJ's first time into your live stream and the point of information which you're providing new students is way above most around. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, he has a private. We used to have a forum, but we moved over to a private Telegram. Guess what people are doing here? They saw that fair value gap. Guess what? Oh, turn it into inversion. Okay, you're getting stopped out. Oh, I shorted off that fair value gap. Okay, you're stopped out. Like, even though I'm sitting here and most people, they're like, oh, well, you didn't take a trade. But think about the amount of trades that I'm not taking, the amount of losses I'm not taking. A lot of the gurus on Twitter, they see this, they're, oh, let me go long in this, turn it into inversion. Oh, I could have shorted off this, stopped out. So I saved myself so much mental capital and so much money by doing this. That's why I preach it. The reason why I don't force a bunch of setups in shitty conditions. And I don't know why people are saying, I'm looking at ICT's YouTube, I don't know why people are saying his mother-in-law passed. His mother-in-law, so far, he hasn't posted anything. I mean, she's in the hospital. Muhammad, because welcome to the reality. They're all fake. Yeah, my question is, how do these people drive insane cars and have lavish lifestyle with 3% a month as a target here? Because they're all fake. They're gurus. They're trying to sell you. Hello? Because they sell you a course that you buy because they rented some Lambo and you're buying it. And guess what? You're paying for that rental so they can keep selling it. Lord of Stars, yeah. Armand, I mean, I enter off of the 1 minute for bad guy for the most part. Robert, look at your daily time frame. Thoughts on my back. So FX, that dude has been around basically as long as I have. That dude is a straight up scammer. I mean, yeah, if I was sitting here with Lambos and cars and like these people don't trade live. I don't. I know it's harder for some students to see it, but I mean, if you just critically think, if you have a head on your shoulders, I mean, it's not that hard to see. Alex FX, I don't know that dude. If you went back to when you had to pass your first challenge, what would you do regarding the present environment of these months? What about the money management? I'm just doing exactly what I've been showing the live streams, being very tedious, being very careful. Like, you have to think too. I mentioned this. I forgot to mention this yesterday. Even though like we're inside of some tight ranges in here, the volatility is still pretty crazy on NQ right now. Like, I mean, this is 30. Like this small little move's 30 handles. Like, yeah, we're on a 1 minute time frame, but this entire move, that's 100 handles. That's a lot of risk. That's a lot of risk to just be taking trades at just whim. Like, that's a lot of risk. 100 handles in this short little move. Yeah, that's a lot of money that can be made, but I'm always cautious of the risk. That's a lot of risk to be just taking on. Even yesterday, even Monday, when we were inside of this really, really tight range. I mean, think about the amount of times in this tight range on Monday where if you're stopped out, I mean, you're whipping back and forth, 70, 80 handles, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I mean, dude, you're going to lose your entire ass on that. Stock magician, I mean, good. Is your private going to be paid? Yes. Do you ever think I could be too hesitant at times? No. Because the thing that reconfirms that to me is my track record. Like, it reconfirms that to me. To many of you, it seems like I'm being way too patient, missing a lot of moves. But again, it sounds boastful, but I'm the one who has a track record who's profitable. So it's like I just lean on that. What about feelings that I'm doing to less deserve to be profitable? What about? I'm not sure what you mean by that. You get rich by trading. I mean, you may not be this multi-millionaire that people describe it to be, but if you can replace your income, you can replace your job and just be free of a job. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. Or even just having a side income from this. Like, you have to work your way up to it. Don't place your goal set and your vision on being a multi-millionaire. It's a good goal, but move mountain by mountain. As soon as you reach one mountain, you achieve it, then move on to the next one. But again, most millionaires have 8 to 10 sources of income. Majority of millionaires have that. So trading is just one source of income. You can have multiple sources of income. You invest into multiple things. Like, to place all your income and to think that you're going to create millions out of this. I'm not saying you can't, but I mean, most millionaires have a lot of sources of income. Study them. This is where the traditional 9 to 5 people, they work one job, they invest in their 401k, and that's it. But they don't take any of that money. They don't invest in other things and try to expand their residual or whatever primary income. They just stay stuck. They're stagnant. I mean, I'm in the mindset of not chasing 2 rabbits at once. You want to get a good source of income where you can make a lot of money from it and then divvy that up into multiple sources. And then eventually that's all going to pay you. Thank you, algo trading. Yeah, I know Poon by that statement saying interesting. I think I can already get what you're saying at, but again, I have a track record to prove everything that I've done. I'm not going to waste a breath. Again, that's people ask me, why are you doing private? It's like, again, because I'm looking at sources of income. I'm not a focused, narrow-minded person. If I can kill 2 birds at once, with 1 stone, being able to trade and also make a source of income from mentoring others, why would I not do that? It's just a business 101. So do you know the reverse correlation oil gold market CXY? I don't know about new week opening gaps and new day opening gaps in those markets, to be completely honest with you. Oil and gold, I don't really look at them, so I can't really say. I don't have an opinion. If you're just tuning in, I mean, there's 224 likes. If you haven't already, I'd appreciate it if you did like the video real quick. Let me look at dollar. Yeah, I mean, dollar's still just stagnant. It's not something that I'm really fond of to utilize currently. Pentance, good question. I'm gonna ask the dude. He should be this week or next week, I would believe. Dodge, would you expect to learn HVAC from a trainer for free? Of course not. Things of value aren't free if it's exactly. Nathan, no, they're not. It's an algorithm coded to do certain things. That's my personal belief. It's just, there's going to be times where, just because you know the algorithm, just because you know ICT's concepts, does not mean that all the time it's just rainbows and sunshines, the market conditions are always good, you can trade in every single environment. No. There's just times where you can't trade. It doesn't work. It's not that it's not that the algorithm's broken. It's not that too many people know his concepts now. And think about this, this is what he said. I know this is a common question, common fear. Do you think that if that was actually reality, do you think he would have taught it? Do you think he would have went publicly out there and taught all of this? Like, think about that. Why would he do that? That makes no sense. I'm just saying that because I had the same fears, but then I quickly realized, well, that doesn't make any sense. And you also have to realize 90% of people lose anyways, regardless of even if they know these concepts. Like, people can't control themselves. Like in here, I guarantee you, people are trying to long and short and do whatever and just. Yeah, Tom, I would love to see you in there, brother. I mean, we have to work something out. We can work something out, but it just seems to me you're a very good student. You're somebody who shows up every day and works hard, so I appreciate those kinds. How do big news days like tomorrow typically play out when there's an obvious draw on liquidity like we currently have? Seems like there's a risk that the news will take out liquidity. Yeah, I mean, if the news and I'm not able to participate, if I wait out, for the news to release and it goes right to the draw on liquidity, I mean, then it is what it is. But all I know is when there's volatility in the market, there's a lot of movement. There's good things that are happening, and it'll free up the market to allow it to move. Giuliano, I think people don't realize the master troll that ICT is. Whether you want to believe that, whether you think that's a crazy conspiracy, I purposely think he did that on purpose. I mean, think about the timing behind. He did that a week before he entered into Robbins. Then think about all the videos. Think about everybody talking about his stop outs. He's not dumb. He's very, very smart. I think he's way beyond the intellectual that people give him credit for, especially when it comes to trolling and like what he's done. I mean, it's hilarious. And people want to, they'll probably criticize that and be like, well, he just sucks. Well, cool. How's IC2 doing in the Robbins? I mean, he's not on the leaderboard, but I mean, yesterday he just posted a 4K day, so I mean, he's got to be close, as far as what I know. And he stated this before even on Twitter. Like people are freaking out that he's not on the leaderboard yet, but he stated that he's going to let these people be on the leaderboard for a while and then just slowly creep up and then just surpass them all. Again, the level that he's on. I don't think people can really comprehend it. I can't at times. I don't. He's so mysterious, obviously, but his skill set is just beyond what people can really comprehend. Dodd, yeah, I mean, I don't believe in anything that dude teaches. You can't combine ICT with DR. That's a bunch of nothing. Yeah, there's actually one of our guys. His name's Alex. He's on the forex leaderboard. He's #1 spot. So congratulations to him. That's it takes balls to be inside of that. Oh, thank you, Accidental. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah. Sometimes I forget the new week opening gap isn't on. But, I mean, yeah, the algorithm isn't real. Well, how is something that ICT taught, the new week opening gap, a simple concept from the open to close of last week's opening price to this week's opening gap? I mean, look at the precision. That's not a coincidence. Like, to the tick and it reverses. It's beautiful. Muhammad, no, I'm being a realist. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that everybody in this chat, there's 600 plus. I mean, there's a small percentage. I'm being realistic that are going to be successful doing this. It's being realistic. But if that demotivates you, that shouldn't. If anything, if somebody tells you that you're not going to make it, all that should do is piss you off to want to do this more to prove them wrong. That's all it should do. You should want to prove that statement wrong. I've wanted to prove the entire statement wrong the entire time I've traded, where 90% of traders never make it. I've wanted to prove that wrong. I've wanted to be against the odds. Like, it's not just me, it's statistics. Regardless of the concepts you trade, it's all about how you handle yourself. You can view motivation in multiple ways. If somebody says something to you that's negative, quote unquote, like, you're never going to make it, blah, 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 this or that, you can view that as motivation, or you can view that as somebody just hating on you and you get demotivated by it. I view everything as motivation. Somebody doesn't believe in me, cool. I'm going to prove them wrong. Family members, friends, whoever it is. I mean, every single successful person has people that doubted them, things that completely outweighed their odds of being successful, but they did it against everything else. So be willing to lean into that. Mark, I mean, that's through time. You don't have to shove it in their face necessarily. And I don't, of course, when I was younger and even now, yes, I still have that feeling. But I mean, that's a void. Like, because then again, those people are controlling you for the rest of your life, because you always want to prove them wrong, and they may never see that. They may want more out of you, and then you want to keep doing more just to prove them wrong. It's like, well, do it to prove yourself right and to set yourself free for the rest of your life and your family free. I mean, that's really it. Muhammad, I've been live right here on YouTube every day for the past 3 months. Exactly. I mean, they'll see you. You don't have to even say anything. Results will speak for themselves. I mean, so far in terms of price, what we're doing, I mean, do I want to be longing in here? I mean, I could, if I had a gun to my head and favored like side, I would probably, as far as when I'm looking at the dealing range, I mean, I'm 15-minute from that high down on the low. Could be wanting to retrace up into that premium. If it could possibly extend past that, I don't particularly really know. Probably just going to be sitting still today, not doing much. You feel like live streaming is wearing you out? Yes and no. I know, again, people have their opinions on private group or whatever, but I know moving into a more private setting with people that are just willing to learn and actually really care, and they're sitting with me and not, I'm not getting the same questions over and over because that drains me, then yeah, it'd be a little bit easier. Can you please explain how to measure the new week opening gap, last week's opening price? Yeah, I mean, I just use the indicator. I know ICT says not to do it. I mean, he also has multiple videos on his YouTube, like labeled new week opening gap. So go over there and watch it if you want the true definition or how he utilizes it. But these have always worked for me, and I love it because I can toggle it on and off, and I don't have to extend it out. I don't have to have it on my chart every day. I mean, so far, what would you like to be doing in here? If you've already anticipated this before it already happened, like we anticipated this before the open, I'm not caught off guard. I'm not mad. I've already prepped myself. Even last night, I told myself I'm already prepared for tomorrow to not really be doing anything. Romer, yeah. I'll make a video over it, and also Friday when I do the last live stream, I'll do, the last portions of it, going over how to get into it, blah, blah, blah. I'm prepared for Twitter. I have to make a video for Twitter, and I'm prepared for all the trolls and people, which I got receipts, so. Again, I know people hate that I hate that I have to do that, but I mean, it is part of it, where you have to prove yourself and why you should be able to sell something. But then again, it's always up to the customer. Like, that's the reason why I've done these is you should be able to decipher on your own whether somebody is good at what they're doing and whether you want to invest into them or not. Red, yeah. Again, I mean, it is what it is. I know we talked about this yesterday. I would love if you edited your name. I always think you're asking like a bunch of question marks. Mantis was thinking for price maybe to get an RTH gap at one point. Yeah, there's just not enough evidence for me to want to look. Just because there is an RTH gap above or beneath price, it doesn't mean it has to reach into that. It can be, but there needs to be things that are in confluence with it. Julian, I mean, it's cool, man. It's not really seek and destroy. It's just more or less just consolidating. Seek and destroy looked like yesterday, and then even the delivery was a little off. Is there any advantage for you to live stream besides teaching us? Are you saying me or are you saying yourself, the students? Advantage to me, I mean, yeah, like obviously I've built an audience doing this, but as far as like me trading wise, like my performance, it's actually really helped, to be honest with you. It's a great accountability partner. Thank you, Muhammad. Will this not be considered a trend day despite being a weak trend? I mean, not really. A trending day is when the daily time frame, the daily candlestick, is moving towards a drawn liquidity clearly on one side. Go to your daily chart. Tell me what you see. You see consolidation, right? So just because the lower time frames are doing something, it's not a trend day. Wolf, yeah. Muhammad, that is a common theme around here. I feel like a trainer, man. Like, besides technicals and teaching that, like, more mentally, it's what I focus on. Jabbers, yeah, but then again, the pressure can be too much for some people, even myself. Like, there's a lot of things that psychologically will go on and off stream that I'll question whether I would have taken that off stream by myself or would I have taken it on stream. But for the most part, I mean, if I looked at the last 3 months, like, I mean, my performance has been great, so I can't say it's negatively impacted me. Do you think the small 15-minute for value gap will hold and it runs for sell side? I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. What risk are you using on your my forex? Are you building up the buffer? Then I think remember what you're saying. Yeah, so I built up the buffer now to where I'm at 3,500. I want to build it to probably 4K, and then I'm going to start upping it. So the way future accounts are a lot different than like a forex prop firm in terms of like what I'm. Give me a second. Sorry, my dog scratches on my door. What I was saying is it's a little bit different. Like for me, I'm taking up the, let's say you start with a $3,000 drawdown like mine. I look at the $3,000 like I divvy that up into at least 10 to 15 trades. So my risk needs to be within 10 to 15 trades, however that is. So typically I was risking about $150 to $250 per trade because that gives me about 15 trades. Like if I lost 15 trades in a row, that would blow the entire drawdown. So that's what I'm looking at when I'm looking at the drawdown. And now that I'm building a buffer away from the starting drawdown, then I can start upping my risk a little bit more. Then I can start risking 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, etc. What do my journals look like? I mean, I can do a video over it, which privately I probably will, but I mean, it's not a whole lot. Like, it's just you sit down and you record the day. Most of the time, I mean, I do a journal in and of itself with these videos. Like, I do a live stream every day, and I sit down and I do a daily log. So most of the time, I'm already doing it. Like, that is my journal, in a sense. I'm not going to go over it. My forex futures, or my funded futures, I've gone over it many times. Just look at the rules in between my funded futures and Top Step and all the other ones. Even if you're inside of this trade, and I know some people are watching this move and I'm not talking about it, look at the amount of time you'd have to sit through something like this. I mean, it's not something that's favorable. It's not like, wow, I want to be a part of that. You're burning mental capital just sitting inside of something like that. Many of you may not believe that, but you are. Reason for not going long, I just kind of discussed it. I just find the entire day low probability. I'm not trying to just be in every single type of move. you have to think too. I've made this point a few days on a daily log. I'm sitting in front of an audience and I'm trying my absolute best to describe to you, showcase what good high probability setups look like, what you should be ideally looking for, not trying to trade every single day. You have to think the influence that I have over people. And this is one thing I've learned through ICT, the things that I think, not that he made a mistake on, but what he's posted videos of him trading every single day, being inside environments every single day. And what does that do? That influences his audience to believe that you can do that. It's not realistic. All the people that traded for the last 3 days, whether they won or lost, you spent mental capital. And when you come into a day where I suspect tomorrow and Friday will be a little bit higher probability, a little bit easier, my mental capital is still there. Everything's intact. I haven't exhausted myself. Yeah, I've sat in front of the charts for an hour, hour and a half for the last 3 days. It's really not that big of a deal. But these people have traded for hours on end. They've taken multiple losses. All that's burning mental capital. You're burning all of that. So when you come into a day that's high probability, you no longer have the focus. You no longer have the mental capital to sit through certain trades to find the right setups. As far as somebody asking about like why didn't I take this, because I'm placing it on like in my head where I'm looking at the whole week and I'm going, well, if somebody gave me a printed out week every day of each week, you know, the whole week, and they said, all right, these are the models for the week, this is what happened, I want to pick the one that's the highest probability, that's the easiest, that's the most best risk to reward. And I don't believe that today is one of them. I don't believe that this is one of them. Sure, there's a short move in here that I can see logically that probably price would move higher, but the probabilities of being inside of that and working out all the time is really not that high. Yeah, we also have 15 minutes left. I mean, we're also still in a bearish dealing range. So me trying to pick the bottom of a bearish dealing range, just because we've taken sell side, I'm not trying to take a long at the bottom here. I can do that in a higher probability state, but what is the narrative? Bearish. I'm not trying to pick a long for a retracement. That's just, it's not logical for me. And you may have a different opinion. You may think of it differently or view it differently. Again, we're all personalized people. Let me read that question in depth, Tom. If you look back inside of your marked IFVG, there was an accumulation order block expansion retest. I mean, okay. So you built up slowly because then chances of losing the account once you're at that point are slim, and then when you're up, you risk a lot. So level, yeah. So I mean, with at least my fund in futures, once the starting drawdown is 97K, and your starting balance is 100, right? If I move up to 103 in profit, the balance moves back up to 100,000. So I'm basically sitting at 3K drawdown no matter what. So once I get to that 3K buffer and I start moving away from it, well then I'll have 4K to lose, 5K to lose, 6K to lose, 7K to lose. So I have a little bit more room to lose to where my buffer, I'm distanced away from it. And that's where I can start upping my contract sizes. And I could use 10 minis on my account. I'm not going to do that. Like I use micros, like 5 to 7 at a time. And once I start upping it, and this is the difference between a funded account and a real live account, is I couldn't put 10 minis in a $3,000 live account. That just the margin isn't there. The broker won't allow it. But if I wanted to, I could. But that's why prop firms do it, so they entice you to blow your account so you lose money. I'm not doing anything. There's just days hypothetically, there just isn't anything here. I wouldn't pay too much attention to Dow. DODD. Okay, thank you. Sean O'Mara. Lone Wolf. My overall goal with my funded futures, they will move you into a live account at a certain, like an actual real live, because all your prop firm money is all fake. It's not real. How do they make money? Well, they're either going to A book you or B book you, and plus they make money off of the fees. So if you're a good trader, they'll copy trade you. If you're a bad trader and they see the tendencies in there, they'll reverse trade you. So that's how they make money. But for my funded futures, is if I get into a certain threshold of money and consistency, I've already talked with some of the moderators, they're going to move me into a live account. So then I'm going to have a little bit more freedom. I have my own live account where I don't really have as much restrictions, and then I can do what I really please. Which, what would be the difference between like me putting $10,000 into a live account versus me putting $10,000 into a, like, my funded futures, letting them have $10,000? Well, they're going to let me to have a little bit more leverage, and that's really what I'm looking for, because I know overall my strike rate, I know my overall like win rate. I know I could use some decent leverage and start expanding. But like if I try to put $10,000 in a live account and try to trade at NQ, some future brokers don't even allow that, because you need a certain, some of them you need 18,000 to trade one standard mini of NQ, because it requires that. Same with ES. ES is a little bit lower. Abraham's, yeah. It's funny that people hate on me when I don't take a trade, but most people never thank me for keeping them out of stupid trades. Like they'll be thankful when I take a trade and like, oh, you're still good. But out of all the whole week when I'm not doing anything, everybody's looking at me like, oh, he's not doing anything. What the hell? But I'm keeping a lot of people out of stupid, unnecessary losses, which is the whole point. But people don't think that. They don't view it as that. And it's just funny. What's your opinion on copy trade? Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I copy trade. Like, are you talking about yourself? Or are you talking about brokers and prop firms doing that to you? Yeah, I mean, there's very few people that are A booked. Like, probably most people are B booked. Like, I would do the same thing if I was a futures prop firm or any prop firm. I would do the exact same thing. I mean, those things are a gold mine. I don't know how long they're gonna stay for. Use quarter theory? No. Yeah, I can't trade CFDs. If you're in the U.S., you cannot trade CFDs on a regulated broker. They're banned in the U.S. So the only way you're able to trade them is through an unregulated broker, or you trade them through a prop firm, which that's now kind of being put to a halt for a particular reason. Christian, just go to their Discord, ask one of the moderators, or just go over it. Jabbers, because people are easily influenced. Because there's not enough voices like mine that kind of speak out against it, and if I do, I'm called a hater, and I'm called, somebody that's hating on other people. Which, I mean, it's not true. I'm just speaking truth. But it's just a waste of time for me to do that. Like, I could sit here on social media all day and call out a lot of people and their BS, but it's just not worth my time. I have other things to do in life, and if people are going to get scammed and they're going to buy into stupid things, then, I mean, it sucks. But I'm not the person for that. I don't have the time to do it. It's a waste of time. It's up to the users to decide what is good, what is bad. And obviously, if a newer student doesn't have enough information to decipher that, then it's just the cold hard reality. You're going to get scammed. And I've been scammed too. It sucks. It's not fun. I've joined groups where people were really good on social media and then they weren't. And I'm like, well, what the hell? Paid good money. I've had people where I paid money and they left after 1 week of doing it. They ran off, ghosted social media. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, the reason I speak like this about a lot of other people is because I've been through a lot of people scamming me, and it's not fun. 2 stop losses, anytime I close my PC. It's probably a good decision. Muhammad, yeah. Thank you. Could use the C of the daily 4-hour wick as a draw on liquidity going into the day. I mean, yeah, if we do start drop off lower in here, I don't trust any runs lower today, because I understand that tomorrow is probably, we're being held for tomorrow. Any runs lower may be a fake run lower, and I'm aware of that. When you're A, in a consolidated state, and B, when you have a news event driver ahead of price, it's probably just engineering liquidity for tomorrow. So any runs lower, I don't really trust. The significance behind it, I don't trust. And what did we talk about just earlier is why didn't I, why was I not trying to go long? Because order flow is overall bearish. I'm not trying to long in a retracement. That's not high probability. Why did I not short here? Because I don't find today high probability, as I just discussed. If you look at how many people have probably already been stopped out trying to do anything they can inside of this, like, smart decision is not to do anything. But some people, they can't really see that until they have suffered a lot of losses and tremendous amount of pain and trauma, which I have. So I respect the risk so much more. I have so much respect for the risk, and I have so much respect for how stupid I can be. Like, I understand how easily I could screw things up. One bad trade, one bad mistake could lead into 10. So I'm very cautious on my setups and the things I take, because I understand myself so well. Like, you don't understand how bad of a trader I can really be. Like, I can screw things up so damn quickly. One bad mistake, my over self-critical person can get in the way, and I try to prove myself in the market, and I take another loss. Okay, I take 2 losses. Let me try to get another one. 3 losses, 4 losses, 5 losses, 6, and then I'm ending the day, and I'm like, what the hell did I do? I've done that so many times, so I try to be very particular on the setups I want to take, because if you're asking why I'm so patient, because I know myself so well that I can screw things up very quickly. It's rarely, obviously, with the technical side. I just know how stupid I can be. That's a humbling, good humility thing to do, because if you know that, then all the power is now in your hands. Yeah, Businessman, I will release it on Friday. Dark Ghost, I mean, that's a good question, but it's gonna be different for everybody, right? I can't really put a time limit on that. I mean, it took me multiple years, like 4 years, 5 years, to really figure out myself. I had a lot of things to work through, and that's the reason why listening to the advice that a lot of people give you is going to help you, because I had to relearn, I had to unlearn a lot of the bad habits I started doing, because I created a lot of bad habits. It's the reason why ICT says the paper trade, tape read, because you're not developing these terrible habits that you have to undo at the later point. Like, once you reach this technical skill, then okay, now I have to unlearn all the bullshit that I just created for myself. But imagine if you didn't create all that and then you had the technical skills, then you're fine. Austin, thank you. That's what I love to hear. Yeah, it's more than you think. Like, I've been doing this, like, mentoring stuff for a while. I was looking back a few days ago on my Telegram post. I posted a really good thing in my old Telegram where, like, trading's funny, because at one point you think that you're reaching consistency, and then you'll be dragged back down into, like, this point where, like, okay, never mind. You may have just had a lucky strand of wins, and maybe I'm not as good as I think. And then you have to go back in and dig deeper and be like, all right, like, how far am I willing to go? Okay, you find a little bit of consistency, dragged back down. Okay, restart. How far are you willing to go? Some people I've seen throughout the many years, I've started with many friends, family members, they've gone on, they've done this for a couple of years, and then they just lost it all and they stopped doing it. So the person who likes walking, enjoys walking, is going to reach the destination or enjoy it much further than the person who enjoys the destination. I may be screwing that quote up a little bit, but the whole point is, if you enjoy the process much more than the overall profits, the overall, reward, if you enjoy the process of learning, if you enjoy the process of, even taking losses and making mistakes, if you enjoy that, you're probably going to make it a lot further than the person who only enjoys the profits, who only enjoys the upside. I enjoy it all. I enjoy the mistakes. I enjoy me messing up, doing stupid things, having to go back into my journal figuring out, how the hell do I fix this. I enjoy it. It's not fun. It's not something that's like, wow, overall, if I had to pick or choose, I wouldn't want to, but it's part of the process. Like, same thing as working out. Like, as you callous your mind, as you go into deeper levels of adversity and deeper levels of your development, same with, working out, I enjoy the pain. I enjoy the burn. I enjoy working out when I feel the stretch, when I feel myself fatiguing. I enjoy that. It's the same thing as trading. You'll start to enjoy taking losses because all right, cool. Like, I get to make more improvements on myself. I get to see, all right, well, maybe I'm not as good as I thought. Like, okay, cool. Let me make an adjustment. Let me see how this works out. It's always trial and error because yourself is always evolving and changing, so you have to improve yourself. Muhammad, yeah, that's happened to me so many times. I've had consistency, and I think I finally made it. Like, I'm here, and then boom, out of nowhere, I'm on a losing streak for 3 months. I'm like, all right, well, obviously I'm not where I need to be. Let me make an adjustment, and that's just up to you how far you want to go. What happened? Flyfish, I appreciate that, brother. You've always been an amazing supporter. Yeah, and that's why a lot of people relate to me because I relate to all of you. I've been in the same shoes as you. I'm not a phony. Like, I've had some serious struggles where I've cried by myself. I've sat here doubting it, doubting this entire journey, doubting whether or not I'm ever going to be successful. I've never doubted the concepts. Like, you'll reach a point technically where you're very skilled, but then you start to doubt, like, will I ever be able to control myself? Am I able to ever do this? Like, personally, am I ever able to control myself? That's a scary thought and a scary feeling to have because it's like, damn, dude, like, that's a reality is, well, I may never be able to control myself. But I lean into that fear. I lean into that and say, you know what? Like, I'm going to prove myself wrong. Fear is just false evidence appearing real. And there's going to be times where you really doubt yourself. You're really, really fearful. But to me, that's a sign of a really good trader, somebody who really wants this. Like, you're reaching adversity. You want to reach those points where you're extremely fearful. You're crying. You're upset. You put your heart and soul into this. People that are just kind of half foot one in watching the stream, they kind of want to do this, they kind of want to, kind of don't. They kind of half-ass everything. You're never going to reach that point. You want to reach extreme adversity, extreme pain, extreme challenges because that means you're growing. It may not seem like it on the surface, but it's the truth because when you reach those points, it's like, all right, I'm really growing. I'm pushing myself to the absolute limits. I've gave it everything I have. When you lay down at night, you want to ask yourself, did I give it everything I have? Did I give it everything? I don't want to lay on my deathbed and be like, you know what, man, like, I could have done a little bit more. I could have pushed myself. And I know myself, hyper self-critical self will always say I could do more. But realistically speaking, if you've done everything that you really can, I mean, that's at the end of the day, like, you gave it all. And for me, I've given everything I have to this. Every day for the last 6 years, there hasn't been a day gone by that I've not thought about this, not, gone on the charts, looked at the charts. I mean, there's days obviously where I'm off doing other things, but even just thinking about, like, through the day, like, just thinking about price, like, I'm obsessed with it. I've lost my mind to this game. Like, McGregor has a great quote where at one point or another you're going to lose your mind to this game. And McGregor, when I was coming up, he was kind of in his prime, and I watched a lot of his motivation, and that inspired the hell out of me. That dude came from nothing to everything. And obviously, I think you'll have massive success like that, but you have to be realistic. I think trading it takes a lot longer than people really think. Businessman, most definitely. Yeah, there's information overload where I think I know everything, but nothing at once. And it's like, what you have to do is go back and simplify it. And again, that's just a learning growth point. You're learning a lot. There's a lot of stuff that you're seeing on the chart. There's a lot of things that you're just kind of like, I don't know what to do with all of this. And there's nothing I can really say besides just keep going. Keep pressing into it. That's really it. Austin, I mean, that's a false illusion. You're never going to detach yourself from these emotions. Your emotions, no matter how skillful you are always going to be here. The point that you want to reach is resolution to where you start to understand the false illusions and biases that trigger these emotions. And that has to go with the book of The Mental Game of Trading. Is I finally realized, well, I can't. What is the ironic part, especially with tilting, is you're going to be pissed off that you're pissed off, and just trying to get myself not to be upset, that's impossible. So I have to figure out why I'm upset and why that is a false illusion. Like, I'm pissed off because I lost. It's like, well, what's the false illusion? I'm expecting myself to be perfect. What's the resolution? Well, I'm never going to be perfect. This game is coded with our own human emotions where I'm going to be imperfect. I'm not going to always pick the right setup. So I have to come to a resolution to where I'm okay with that. And that's not just click, boom, I know the statement and like, yeah, I'm okay with it. Like, no, it takes work and time to work through that to start to realize it. I talked about this last night subconsciously. Like, you guys hear me say the same things over and over and over again. Like, you know, picking a setup that's not my favorite. It's not, it's not my model. It's not a mistake. Or, this means nothing to me. I'm okay with the loss. Whatever it is, I'm constantly stating. I'm reprogramming my subconscious mind to start to listen to that, because your subconscious doesn't know between a lie and a truth. So tell yourself over and over again, regardless if you believe it's true or not, if it's a reality for you yet, keep programming yourself. Your subconscious mind is, I don't know the statistic, but it is, I want to say 1,000 times, but I don't know, I could be wrong, more powerful than your conscious mind. So, I mean, that goes into law of attraction and stuff like that, but I mean, I fell into that belief system as well, as where if I just sat in the mirror every day and said I was a millionaire, I would just poof, become a millionaire. It's like, no, you have to put in the work. But they go hand in hand. Yeah, Vincent Van Gogh, that's who I'm thinking of. Jack, yeah, like I've always wanted to create a podcast, but I mean, these are like a podcast for me. Think about why ICT, on his spaces and on his live streams, he was ranting like this all the time, because that comes through experience. That comes through me. I put in the work, so I can talk like this because I have authority through it, because I've gone through the process. I know what it feels like to have pain. I know what it feels like to go through struggles and adversity, and it's not sunshine and rainbows. And I have to break that reality to a lot of newer students. Is it's not what you see on social media. It's really not. I mean, think about what some people are trying to do today, or even if you tried to trade today. I mean, what's the statistics of you being profitable in this? Probably not high. I already knew coming into the day I should be expecting this. Oh, like, I think I've actually, the last time I took a trade was last Wednesday. So it's been an entire week since I've placed a trade. So for some people, that's so hard to fathom. It's so difficult. And I get that. It's not something I just learned overnight. It's not something that I just was born with. It took me a long time to reach this point. And some people may look at that and be like, that's not a good trader, but to me it is. Exactly, Tom. The smart people, the wise people will always learn from somebody else. The inexperienced person will learn from their own mistakes, which I'd had to learn the hard way. CJ, how do you transition from multiple trades per day to not even one trade a day? I mean, a good point. If you have a over trading problem, an over trading issue, just sit your ass down. Don't open up your live account. Don't even have it on the screen, and just sit down in a live environment and sit with those emotions. Every time you feel like, man, I should be taking a trade right now. Maybe I should open up my live account. Maybe I should take a trade. Just sit with it. Tape read it. Because if you do that, it's training yourself. You have to train yourself to sit. Look at what I've done the last 3 days. I've sat through live environments. I haven't placed a trade. I'm sitting here talking to all of you. Same thing as the last 2, 3, 4 weeks is the first 2 days I didn't take a trade, because I've sat through many environments where I've sat with those emotions. I've wrestled with them, because internally you're wrestling all the time. Like, should I take this trade? Should I not take it? Should I take the trade? Should I not take it? Is it good? Is it bad? Am I taking a loss? Am I not? You have to wrestle with it. And the better you become at wrestling with it, the better you're going to have discipline to sit through it. Why are we not taking a short in here? Because I don't find anything. I don't trust this environment at all. I don't trust the precision. I don't trust the concepts to be working at the rate they should be, due to the factors that I've discussed many times already. I mean, that's a little gem in itself. I mean, I've discussed this before. Just because you see a certain model, you see something in here, the conditions that surround it are deeming it lower probability. They're not going to work as well. The same concept as if, like, before NFP, before a news event driver, they're not going to be as precise. I'm not expecting myself to be right. Wolf. Yeah, brother, I know you want to win those, but I mean, statistically, again, I know it's a reality check. You're probably never going to win one. I hate to break it to you. I mean, that's probably going to be it for the session, guys. I mean, I'm at the end of the silver bullet macro. That's it. I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed today's session. Again, I know these things are boring. I know but this is the reality of it. If you want to be a full-time trader, you want to make money from this. It's what it looks like. It's not trading every day and doing things all the time. And I really do hope, I mean, same as last week I said it, like, I hope I can showcase that. Like, being patient wears off. It pays you. So, like, tomorrow or Thursday, I take a good trade for 50 handles or whatever. And then you get to see, oh, well, you waited the whole week and you got one good setup, and that's all you need. And I don't need to be pushing in a bunch of BS. Yeah, that's going to be it for today. I appreciate all you guys being on here. I appreciate all the support over the last several months. I know we're kind of coming to an end of these public live streams. So I only got 2 more days on here until I'm done. If you're newer here, I would suggest going back through the old live streams, all my daily logs, going back through all this to see what I've done, what I've talked about. That way you have a good view over it. Yeah, I'm going to go touch some grass and go to the gym. Appreciate all of you. Hope you all have a good rest of your day. Peace.